Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Okay. Good evening. Okay. So we hope that you enjoyed your lunch. So it's 4 o'clock already. So we will continue with our agenda. And I would like to ask Mr. Sergio Penilla. I don't know if he's with us. Yes, he's a chairman of committee of IFRS of UC&CS Global. He's recognized for his great experience. He's a public accountant for the Autonomous University of Aguascalientes. He's a professor of taxes for executive and professor of management with a specialty in international commerce, and also he's a manager of audit and leader of ethics GS Tax Advisors with more than 30 years of experience in firms in self-transportation, financial and commercial institutions, commissary of several enterprises in the construction business. Also, he's a professor of the Ibero-American Institute de Scarias on audit and finance, and also the master degree of taxes in the Scaria Institute, Campus Aguascalientes and Cancun. So he's a chairman of Committee IFRS of UCS America. He's a lecturer of UCCS in different positions in IFRS, IFRS SME, fiscal and audit. He's a electoral advisor of year 2020 to 2021. So he is a, it is again a great honor to introduce accountant Sergio Penilla. Please give us an overview of the topic that you will be covering today. Well, thank you very much, Judith. And as Judith was saying, hopefully you had an excellent lunch. I think it's too quick, but we need to move on with the agenda. The next presentation is in charge of myself and two more people. I, my apologies for mentioning my name first, but we're going to share part of the presentation. Well, he has experience and efforts of many people, starting with the developer Richard Ponce. I don't know if he joined, uh, but he helped us in the development of the software. I just want to mention also Miguel Angel Millones, who we have been collaborated for quite a long time. We have been supported the organization in the development of the software. We have the release that includes all the methodology of the firm, and this is the title of the presentation. The modules of the software is based on the Excel platform of Microsoft, and we are going to share this presentation with our economist Richard Ponce, Dr. Quiñones, and myself. So, Judith, before we start, I have I have a presentation. It's going to be really short, so I will give some space to my two colleagues. So I will give you the overview of this audit software. but please introduce my two colleagues. Miguel Angel Quiñones, 99.9% of the partners know him because he has been in several courses, and the same for Richard Ponce. So, can you introduce them, please? What's their Thank you. It is a great honor to introduce. I mean, he's a certified public accounting professor in fiscal law for Universidad Valle México, Campus Villahermosa. He has a PhD in law by Instituto de Puebla, Campus Villahermosa, chairman of the Mexican Association of Public Accountants, the Professional College Mexico, member of the Board of Honor and Justice of the College of Public Accountants. He's partner of his the firm in resources management and preparation of ISO 9001. He's chairman of committee about it, and he will be supporting us. Well, Richard Ponce, a BA in economics. It's a great honor to introduce you, Miguel Angel Quiñones, professor and a doctor. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Sergio. Well, Miguel Angel, and well, in a nutshell, she covered like all your life, but I just want to introduce to you a summary of our audit software has. It's got many tools, many apps of our service, audit service, and we can get support from it because it, besides the methodology, it was developed according to the Audit International standards. So, well, this IAS that was recently published for less complex entities, probably we will have to make some adjustments to the software because based on the reference framework according to the IAS for an IAS for less complex entities, probably we will have to have our IAS full and IAS for less complex entities. So, what the software contains in a summarized way, because it is a very extensive software. But I would like to talk or mention the modules that will call the attention of any audit firm. It's got a user manual. We do not know in what stage it is. With so many changes, the user manual also was changed. So it is in progress. It's almost ready. And obviously, I would recommend to you that if you upload the software, it's going to be like the first thing you will need to learn. So the user guide must be read, understood, and applied. So what the manual says has to be put into practice with in the computer. Otherwise, we will not have it clear, and we can lose. And the security is one important part of the software. This software is synchronized, so it can work with identifier of our computer. So in this computer, the one that I am presenting from, and if I want to use it in another computer, I cannot uh, use it. So in general terms, the software has uh, well, a license, and also it is in English and Spanish. And the reference framework on which we can get the support, the standard for the application of some procedures, well, is contained in IIS and IFRS in English, but also we have a module um, to use it in SMEs and IFRS for SMEs. Well, one of the main modules, and this is where we're going to start from to get the most of this software, is a planning and audit risk. This is the soul of the software. And obviously, this is in accordance with the methodology of the firm. And we know and we want to be a firm network. So everybody must be using the software. According to the fact, we need this software with a common methodology, and each one of the partners have to has to use the software. All the cells, audit cells, is that the one that includes the manual of the firm audit, and also has been updated on a regular basis. And this is the work of many people that have been in audit committees. I don't want to skip anybody, but Mr. Leo's, well, many people that have been there for a long time. The financial statements module, according to this international audit standards for SMEs as well, quality control module that contains the manual and methodology of the firm. And we want to insist that the summary, this is the summary of many, many people that has collaborated in internal control, quality control, audit, on the technical part. And this is the culmination of many hours of work, many people making a lot of effort, and also the audit sampling that that it is almost ready thanks to the help of one of the basic tools for the audit procedures with this the sampling in audit, which is contained in a IIS, and that's why I'm referring to it. This is not done for Mexico. This is done for the world. So I urge you to make contact with us in, well, with the firm, in order to have your ID computer or computer ID and to make the most of it. And we have security features. Once you register, you will have the user and the password, and the module identifies you with the ID of this computer so you can log in. Once you log in, you will see the main module. As I said before, the language, we we have like a scroll down menu so you can access the module in Spanish or English, and all the content will be in English or Spanish. So let us remember that the standards for IFRS and IAS are in English. So you will be able to find the original standard and obviously its translation into Spanish. It is officially translated. So we will have these two languages, and as I said, the scroll down menu will allow you to select the framework, the accounting principles. Uh, it could be IFRS or IFRS for SMEs, and also this model, as I said, even in order to review this, it would take us some hours. Miguel Angel will explain it to us, and we have a course coming soon regarding planning of audit by using this software. As I said, we obviously have audit risk. Let us remember that audit risk is the multiplication of the inherent risks and control risks. The weighting them will give us the total risk, and this software calculates it. So we have all the audit manual, including the summary per area, as per area, and I gave you the example of cash summary, but also we have the index. If we, well, it can hardly be seen, but the index A-0-4 in concept, we click on that button and then you will be taken in which part of IFRS or IFRS SME we will find the cash summary, the valuation rule, the presentation standards, the disclosing standards, and disclosure standards, and all the cells of the possible procedures we, that could be applied in this cell. And also, they are contained in our audit manual as well. So, for example, we see we have the audit procedure that we can practice, and if we can practice like cash tally, the investigation of funds, uh, this is only to remind you the audit manual is already contained in the software, and the module of financial statements, you will see the 4 basic financial statements, and with the help provided when, according to this reference frame, we have hyperinflationary uh, statement, and we will have to re-express our financial statements. The quality control, as we said, includes all the quality control manual, all the appendixes, annexes, everything that is contained in, we have it here. And as I said, the audit sampling, the methods of sample selection, the database, and this is according to IAS 530. All these modules are according to the international audit standards. I just wanted to show you this part and the sampling, the random selection or systematic, the sampling by currency expansion factor, risk coefficient or ratio. Everything is contained there. So Miguel Angel, I will stop sharing and so we can continue talking about the modules of the software. Okay, go ahead, Miguel Angel. Oops, no. Can you hear me okay? Yes. Okay, can you hear me okay? Judith, Sergio? Yes. I have two computers opened or turned on. I am kind of hyperactive, so I will show you what we have so far. This is the previous software in the other computer. There's Fernando, my son, with the software. The only thing is that is doing is updating some modules. So what I'm going to mention that during the previous process so far, we had some, well, my wife died and we continue working anyways. And we were able to integrate the review of the preliminary visit that it was not contained on the previous year, since we only have the review as of the 31st of December and the final review. So what we are going to see has the alternative that we are going to have a preliminary review, a previous review. We are in September, so we can do it with the data of July or August to comply with the reviewing process of an audit. So if we go to an audit without having a preliminary, we cannot anticipate to the closing audit. And so we need to be ready in order to make some suggestions to our clients. So I'm going to share my screen. Could you give me, Adrian, could you give me the role? You can start sharing it. Can you see my screen? It's an Excel sheet. Okay. So this is an Excel sheet. So we need to get prepared before we feed the ARBASoft. We need to carry out some analysis. So this software is the INCP that is used in Mexico. We have it until the month of July. So we need to work with those indexes to make calculations that are the calculations as per inflation. If we see, for example, that we have our indexes at the end of December 2021, and with only one click, we update indexes with the right click, and then automatically it'll be updated to the month, the existing month. So in this case, it's August is the one that is available. Why? Because we are going to use it in Mexico City. Those are internal indexes of Mexico to calculate certain factors. Also, we need to prepare with another tool. When it comes to FX, we need to get the FX at the beginning of the hiring process and the closing date in order to show the updating of financial statements according to FX. In order to update the indexes with the right click, this is September, the month of the independence. So today is on the 20th. We have it already. So the review will be updated automatically with the tools, and I will see the FX to the as of the 20th of September. And this tool is called Power Query tool. The, so also in Mexico City, it could be in any country. We have UMAS and tariffs that we need in our review. So these are the rates. What are they for? To have the detailed test for the wages withholding. Those are the rates for 2022 and 2021. So what we need is to have tools to make our review more agile and faster. So we have the rates of 2021 and the wage or salary subsidy. Then this is the link where they are published, those tables of income tax. UMAS, they are the ones published as of the 20th, 2022, 2023. And so we get prepared with the tool in order to help Arbasoft. Arbasoft is not magic. Arbasoft guides us to have the control of our audit. It's a tool. It's just a tool. So we need to use our software. So we downloaded the tools that will help us in our process. I was with my colleagues. I was reviewing the methodology in an audit. Well, this is the basic one. And yesterday we saw this process that auditors must follow. Any professional, whatever the profession is, has to use a method. So we started with module 1, already mentioned yesterday. So this is a quality management. Module 1. The module 2 that Sergio was referring to is the planning module. And this is the quality management. It was covered, and the planning part. These two modules, from my standpoint, takes us like 60% of our time, because the rest must be done by the software, because it just systematizing it. Okay, model. For the substantial test, this is the materiality or non-material, like we saw this morning. Module 5 is the completion of the audit, when we do the closing in order to draft the opinion. This is the closing of the audit. And module 5, there's a consultation of IIS, and you can add in the mandatory rules, which is like, this is the most important. This is a process of the audit methodology. So this process is contained in the audit manual. This is a process that you will see in the manual. Well, based on the comments made by Sergio, these are the objectives of quality for the resources. What does that mean? That each one of the firms, the accounting firms, must have at least three resources. Number one, the human resources. Number two, technological resources. And number three, intellectual resources. And the human resources, the firm has a human resources manual with a methodology to see the staff hiring, what are the the training when they are first assistant, second assistant, the supervisor with experience, sub manager, manager until the partners. That's the human equipment, human team with which we're going to perform the activity. The tools that we have, the query BI, and the platform that was explained to us yesterday, which is a platform of information request. And we shouldn't forget that in technological resources, we have Arbasoft, which is a combination of many colleagues, and all the experience is in this software with Arbasoft.
Let's say that's the starting point, plus intellectual resources that we need to have. They are knowledge, internet, the web. We can download countless resources available, not as we used to work in the past, that we needed to go to the library to take out some information. Like a few years ago, that we were also making a scorecard for accounting audits. And we need to develop and implement proper technological resources to promote the quality management system and also the execution of tasks. So this is going to be more efficient. And intellectual resources. We are going to have a consistent execution of quality jobs that should be coherent with legal records and regulations as it corresponds. Three resources. So this is practically what we have available. This was just to summarize the morning presentations and what has been said right now. Those are the tools that we have available right now. Can you see my screen? Yes. You're in PowerPoint right now. Excel. So you see these files, INPC. I have uploaded these files previously. This is the Consumer Price National Index, additions, and exchange rate. You can query them or you can request them. In case you don't have them verified, please let me know. They are already there. And we have the total, the additions. Daily, yearly, monthly. The link is right there. Those are published by the National Geography and Statistics Institute. The idea was just to share with you the use of technology tools. And those are the tables. Those are monthly tables. and also monthly fees. You can download with this link. It is a magazine called the El Contribuyente or the Taxpayer. We close it and we can place some Excel tables. Exchange rate, as I said, and if you open this tomorrow, you click on here and the whole exchange rate is going to be updated. Exchange rate type, there's nothing. So then you can transfer. We have the exchange rate according to the date, exchange rate, and then I pass that to you. You have the link, and that's it. So we can pass this to our customers. I'm giving you the information, but not the link. This is costly for me. We close it, and that's it. In order to manage or handle ARBASoft, we need to modify our balances. Why? Because there are some balances that have 1, 2, 3 levels. ARBASoft allows you to have 3 levels. There's 1, 2, and 3. First, I need to know how the trial balance was, the levels. This is just 3, but there's one that has 3 levels. So this is a crazy thing. So why are we going to complicate our lives? So now we are going to verify to see how this is. There's a feature for first level. Let's see. First level, those are the accounts 000. And that's the account number. This is asset, liability, capital, account for sales, costs, expenses, etc. So I get familiar with this. And also accruals, income tax. So at least it has some order according to the account plan. Not very comparable to international accounts, as Juan Carlos mentioned yesterday. So you agree with the Mexican financial information standards. They should have been adjusted first, or also the accounting international standards. For me to verify the corresponding level for each one of the accounts, I'm going to apply this function first. And yes, I'm going to extract this from the position D5 as of position number 4, cell B4, B5. We're going to have 7 characters. There you can see extract, so it is also developed. Otherwise, it will take the whole morning and we're not going to be able to do it. Function, level 1, 2, or 3. And the other one is just to see the length of each cell. If it is of entry level, there is the first order. This is what we need to do. How it is structured, the account catalog. And then I have level 3. What's this for? So we can see level 3, and we're checking that this level 3 has these accounts, and then I have all the name of debtors, creditors, etc. And then it is okay. Level 3 logic was lost. From 300, it goes to 002. So we need to understand the company to see how their account catalog is to see what type of accountant they have. This is the account plan catalog. He skipped from 700 to 001, as you can see. So you need to analyze that. This is where you need to introduce another function, another condition, probably level 4 or level 5. Okay, we're not going to get deeper into details. I'm just going to let you know this one. I'm going to leave the functions to you. I'm just going to take out the names just to leave you these levels. I'm going to send this to Remedios so she can share and upload this worksheet. I just wanted to see what we needed to have. I'm going to transfer this one. Once I have this, Miguel Angel, what else shall I do? We're going to close this one. You already saw how we can determine this one for level 1, 2, and 3. Step number 2. ARBASoft account plan. This ARBASoft account plan was copied and pasted. The ARBASoft, where it says account plan. As you can see, this is the account number of the company. There you have. So what happened here? Okay. This is the internal account plan of the company, and this is the ARBASoft. So we're going to match or add up the account number with the name. Why? You will see. Then here, EQ, this is the trial balance of the company and the ARBASoft account number. That's what I'm going to be linking. Linking from there up to here, as the song used to say. So then I am classifying level 2 in ARBASoft, or you can go straight forward to the name. I do not recommend this because ARBASoft only has 10 rows. In sundry debtors or the fixed fund, the names are there. Fixed fund, Mexico. West, East, Guadalajara, Monterrey. So what I did to see the ARBASoft, because as I said, this is not magic. You need to take action. So I was attaching here in PC the account plan for ARBASoft, and then you go to the balances. This is the accumulated January, February, March, April, May, June, July, up to June. The company, any accounting problem, you can care a lot for accrued balances, but accountants sometimes manage their own accounting systems. So you just get the Excel balances and I will be in charge of the rest. So here you have the Excel ones and there you have the accumulated. Can you see everything that I am doing here, Sergio and Judith? Yes. Thank you. Yes. There we have the accrued ones. And I'm working all these because that's what it is requested. Here, balances. And that's the ARBASoft account name. The account plan being referenced to be exported. If there's any question, if they are saying that I'm going too fast, it's okay. Let me know, please, if I am going too fast. I'm mentioning this because the truth is that I've seen this topic with Sergio and Mauricio when they give an Excel training course for this level 2 then, and I am linking in a single tab what I need, what I'm going to be using in a single tab: December, previous exercise, and this year's exercise. December, and not to skip anything, let's have an Excel function to link everything. So I'm doing it from here. Huh? There's a function, a formula. I'm looking for 3 or 4 attributes. If it is a debtor, we are going to match it for February. And then we're going to look for the account number. There it is. Okay. We are importing then from the January balances, March. If I remove January here, what I'm looking for is this one. In which tab between January tab. So I write it down again. So it is looking for at the January tab. Same, if I am changing the name, it removes it. Why? Do you have this function? To add, you go to January's tab and look for the rest. You are going to look for the final balance of each account. No problem, ready. And then I'm going to modify it. Instead of having a final balance, it's going to be in cell E or F, which is debit or credit, which is inside here. So I'm going to ask with this H2, basically, the function is there. So you can see how the function works for Excel. That's the function for those that want to go deeper into details. In order to speed it up, check the data. It's possible to do it. We're going to visualize, and then once you insist, I'm going to see the charges, debit, credit, or balance as you wish. Let me see how they are doing here. Let's see debits. Final balance, look for debit. Yes, ready. All charges for this account. Now let's see credit. Okay, we're going to look for credits, and we'll see how the header is. Okay, look for credit. So I put here credit and ready. This is to make a sale detail test purchases, and if it is a debit nature account, all right, that's basically what we have, the ones that we are having at this side, debit and credit, or probably the final result. So we put the final balance. According to this Excel function, we're going to have final balances. And with this, I'm going to adapt this to ARBASoft in order to make the trial balance in ARBASoft. As I said, it is not magic, as we do not have the whole story of the company with auxiliary and journal entries. Probably we can do that in the future, but now we're going to use trial balances. And then we save changes. And now we go to ARBASoft, the accumulated or accrued for ARBASoft. There it is. Okay, no, this is not. This is the one. One second. So there it is. Basically, what we have in Excel, we open WA module 19. Now I'm going to close this module 19 from Arbasoft, and what we have accrued basically, we have the accrued balance for Arbasoft, and this is the trial balance, and we're going to close now the one for Arbasoft, the balance, what we did here. This is an Arbasoft balance. Remember what we had. It is on this side, and now we are going to match them. We have Arbasoft, and that's what we're going to be copying and pasting. So now that we match them, we're going to bring in account numbers. I was not prepared, you can see. Remember that we have the trial balance in Arbasoft. Well, now we're going to see. What do you want me to start sending here? Balances. And we modified trial balance shift. We just have the final and initial balance when we're going to make additions. If we're going to use in module 10, the sales details were requested monthly credits. And I'm going to import here all the balances. They are imported. You can see them there. And then you say, this is very easy because you already had worked on this. I want to see how you did it. Very easy with some patience, technique, and knowledge, and attending the UC&CS training courses. Okay, now let's import. It is already done. Once we have this, we're going to carry out an import process. We're going to import here. We put it in data. We're going to import from the Excel file database, the web database. That's when I imported exchange rates, additions, tables, etc. Combine and query. We're going to start the PowerPoint editor. In the meantime, we're not going to get deeper into details, so we're going to use an Excel file from a folder to an Excel file, and I want to import from the trial balances that were edited inside my work papers. We're asking where they are, not to hide, please. This is one of the companies of the audit. This is the general, and now we go to balances, and we have accrued to add and what I am importing. And we are going to import the accrued for Arbasoft. Accumulated. This is everything I have here. Now please inform accumulative. Double click, and we are making the import of accrued accounts. Now I check that they are correct. Can you see the whole movement? When I stop sharing my screen, please let me know. Just a quick verification how it is. Okay, debit, credit, check at the top. You have ABC, and it means that this is a configuration for text mode. December, we have figures. If for any given reason where you have a number and you have a text configuration, you just click in 1, 2, 3, and then you can put it as you wish. I'm going to put date and time as numbers are always in sequence and all numbers have an timestamp. You will see right now I'm interested in something else, not in the date. What I want to see is if it is a decimal or number, entire number. Then the currency type, and to be coherent, we have 1, 2, 3, and it is not store 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to substitute this. From here, we can start editing. What am I interested in with Arbasoft? Well, I want to have final balances from last year and this year. Perfect. So now we will see a column administrator. We select the column. I want the account number, description, nature, account number, description, level. Okay, let's put level. December last year and the other year. Adjusted balances. If you want to put December adjustments final balance, okay. Okay, then we click on accept and automatically it runs. I am uploading the trial balance edited inside my balance and we're ready to upload it to Arbasoft. The tabs that I was selecting, sorry, the columns. Okay, no problem, just a quick review this side. At the end, just to be more elegant, let's say, we put it this way. That is the view. We give format, we separate the number, and that's it. I don't see even the ones for the ledger. By default, the query makes it accrued and it needs validation. I'm sending here the addition, the chart. There's a difference of 1 because it is in pesos, Mexican pesos. At the bottom, you can see how it is checked. It has a small difference of 8,000 pesos. I discovered that and said, you have differences. Your balance is not matching. So here, that's the 8,000 pesos of difference. Final balance, those are the 18,000. And then I can see the Arbasoft. As it was imported, it extracted already. I was working at the other balance. The Arbasoft is missing here. You're right. Arbasoft name is not here, so we close. And then, as I made a mistake, I reopened this tab because we needed to have the Arbasoft account. That's what I am interested in to start with. Description, nature, according to Arbasoft, redistribution or incorporation of Arbasoft account number. Then we click on accept, we upload, and automatically we have the account numbers of Arbasoft that I use for the corroboration balances. So that's where I have them basically. Arbasoft account numbers, and that's basically what we have. We have samples, numbers, and Arbasoft is charging at level 2 because it pulls down amounts to the ledger. There you see. East fixed fund, Southeast And there it is showing all this. Well, why so much? Because we have Arbasoft account. Sorry, this is what we're going to have in Arbasoft with this link. And this is an Excel function. I'm going to prepare the trial and then copy paste. Everything is uploaded, and that's what we're going to upload to Arbasoft, basically. So this is a short example of what we can do using the tools that we have in the web for all countries. We have all these web-based tools to facilitate or ease up our work. Many years ago, we did everything manually, and now we have ready for Arbasoft. And the idea here is according to the inquiry that we made, few of us use Arbasoft according to the survey that we carried out, Sergio and some others, and myself. So this can be used as a starting point. That's what we need to do in Arbasoft.
And with this, we feed the Arbasoft. So we're ready to upload everything in Arbasoft. So we have our trial balances. Well, yesterday, Juan Carlos was mentioning that we need to carry out an analysis study to update the our accounting system. If we have them in Mexican laws, in order to convert it to IFRS, we need to take into account the acquisition cost because normally we have the FX change at the end of the month, and we need to do this through a worksheet to reflect the FX. So we need to do the reversion items. And if we use the computing system, we can make it more agile. And if we work with PQBall, it doesn't use any characters. If you see up here, when we import this, there's no formula or any function. Well, at the left, there's no like a formula. We do not have to go to a file. Okay. And then we can work with the platform for our presentations, balances. I'm not the PQ ball is done by Arbasoft because so our so in this case we will perform or prepare our basic financial statements in the balances here of the trial balances. They will do this will be done over here. This is basically it. So let's check this very quickly. The trial balances. This is the accrued one. It's not double work. I just do copy paste, and that'll be all. Those are the cumulative ones. As a way of example, we have the final balance, the audited final balance year by year. I'm going to delete the balances and then we go to changes. And then we go to the ARPASOF tab. but the company gave me another release. This is the new release. Oh, okay. That's okay. So let's carry the balance. We have the release 5 because we had invoices that weren't uploaded. So we can do this. So we delete the balances. This is the change that I made there. So we have new invoices. Okay, so what a drag. So I have to go to, there's no problem. Okay, so I just update it. Now this is the last balance, okay, the final balance. So we save the changes. So what I'm doing in the trial balance is just updating data. And then we go on the other back, and then we go update, and the last release, the last version of the trial balance. Okay, so please give me the final version and sign it. So the accountants love to adjust at the last minute. I was with COVID, that's why I didn't have it updated. So we have many justifications. When this was done manually, we at 10 o'clock sharp, the bus received all the financial statements in writing. I don't know if you remember this, dear colleagues. They were typewritten. Now that we have computers, they are not on time, but it happens. So once we have this module, we upload it, and then we have the trial balance for Arbasoft. Those are the Arbasoft accounts. Please check. I didn't fill them. The I just This is a sub account, not the account. I didn't uh, fill them out as at the level at ledger level. So I just copy paste in the main module of trial balance. This is like an explanation of the tools we can use in order to help Arbasoft. Arbasoft does not contain the fiscal cells because fiscal cells are done per country. Each country has its own way to collect for tax collection. Each ministry of the treasury has its own fiscal cell, so we need to help Arbasoft. How? By doing ourselves the fiscal cells for every country. It is not the same thing when we talk about Mexico, Venezuela, Dominican Republic. So we need to have like fiscal cells as per country. In Mexico City, we have a module that is called fiscal cell, and it's the same thing. We have in to see the materiality of social security, all the employer employee quotas. So I use this cell according to Mexico because this is what applies to Mexico City. So I go to the tab 80. This is all the information, and the same thing. We systematize our processes with a formula in Excel, and I fill out CDAIMS. And this is only for Mexico City. I have my global calculation, my materiality, and I apply it to salaries and wages. And I have a global calculation of salaries paid. This is an in non-material difference because it does not exceed not even 5%. So according to the substantial test, there's no problem. The sufficient and appropriate evidence. And I took this from the 81-A. The, those are the fiscal cells. I have been working for years with this. Um, and this is the import, perceptions, remunerations, the balance, just to see my sufficiency regarding this is my liability on social security and is within or inside my trial balance in my financial statements. Where is it? See, these are the cumulative ones, and this is perceptions. So I just wanted to show you that every country has to have their fiscal cells according to materiality, everything that is charged or debited to expenses, and also aims contributions, and everything that is the administrative uh, charge for exceptions. And guess what? And then I fill out my financial statements. I'm going to compare this with the platform. I just wanted to show you that each country has to fill out its own fiscal cells according to the official law. Can you see it? Okay, okay. There you go. This is the index per each area, in which area we are social security contributions on liabilities and expenses. I have to affect those items. This is preliminary review, the final review, and this is where we have it. So we will, well, yesterday or this morning, I don't remember, we were talking about this cell that it's a test. So it is a procedure test that is like the walkthrough to verify the accounting estimate. And you have this in ARPASAP. What are we going to review? So in our procedure test, we need to check all the process of the review of an account. Carlos Reyes was mentioning this morning, it depends on the amount of the correction that is going to be done, if it's a material or immaterial correction. So we need to check what are the controls the company has. The objective of the control and accounts receivable. So the objective is to verify the authenticity of revenues and accounts receivable. So we go to accounts receivables and we check revenues. And this is all the procedure detail. What do they do as a company and so on. And then everything is ready. Authorization of the credit facility. We are not going to read it right now. You can read it by yourself. No, credit sales. Now that you know, you check 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 invoices, depending on the sample of what kind of risks may be identified within the process. Risks, the merchandise, no, merchancy delivered against the deposit voucher in accounting, in a checking account, and then it is deposited after we reviewed the collection. So we need to prove it, IT, no. And here, all the risks we may encounter. And then the walkthrough. This is a walkthrough. We select invoices and then we walk through. So since the order was placed at this date, what we did, and we need to do this to demonstrate Juan Carlos when he helps us did okay, have you tested the materiality, so he will know what we're talking about. This is the walkthrough, this is the procedure test, and we have credit and cash sales. And then what about the debt, bad debt estimation? It's here. This is the accounting like estimate versus a provision of bad debts. If it's a uncollectible account, it will go directly to expenses. It cannot be collected because we didn't reach the client, so it's in trial or something that won't happen. That won't happen. So we send it to expenses. So that's why we have an estimate of bad debt accounts. And then we see the policy, create clients with occasional due portfolio, recurring due date portfolio with recovery problems, recurring due date portfolio 40%, due date portfolio with recovery problems. This was shared by the attorney. Okay, sufficiency, insufficiency, the accounting estimate that bad debt accounts reserve. Is this enough or do we need to complement it? Uh, so bad debt account, it's an account, a debit account against an expense account. And this is the control matrix. What are the accounts affected and or posted? And we have E I E E X V P R. What is this? I don't know. I don't know what does that does what this means. But if you go below, you will see the meaning. It tells us what we found in the detailed test of those invoices. So here, the integrity. So I stands for integrity. E, existence. X, accuracy. V, valuation. P, property. PR, presentation. Inherent risk, low, medium, high. And then I can show the auditor quality and the accounting estimate. Now, Juan Carlos, if it's satisfied, are you satisfied with this or not? Because our Treasury Department in Mexico is never satisfied with what we submit. So this is Arbasoft, okay? So let's see where it is. So let's close the files. We need to help Arpasoft with everything we have. So we go directly to Arpasoft. So here the most important thing is the cell. This is the core. This is where we're going to edit. Don't worry. Can you repeat this? It's for time reasons we cannot. Everything is recorded. If not, I can. If it's not recorded, we will have a special session for this. Yeah. We do have some comments. I don't know if you don't mind, I can read them. Vicente Torres. Well, I have. one query. I downloaded a version of the system. Is that the last one? And then I downloaded the user manual 2018. Does it need updating, and why? And the one that is you are working with, the revenue is not detailed, and the parameters of the company. Is that all? He didn't forget anything? No? Is that all? Well, so far, no worries. Uh, yes, greetings. Well, dear Vicente, no worries. So the release that you downloaded is not the most recent one. The most recent one, I don't know, Sergio told us that, which is the licensing of computers. Each computer will have a unique ID, an identifier, and each computer needs this code. And you anticipated my son Fernando will do it for us. Okay, so can you? Yes, I'm listening to you. Okay, so it is being updated. The computers will have the computers in 5 minutes, the last version of intranet. Okay, so we will have the download, and we will have an ID control. All the companies should have the license number, basically, because I think this is kind of advanced. Now we see the parameterization and everything that you're requesting. So once you enter Arbasov, you will see what Arbasov contains. So, okay, parameterization will be done in Arbasov. So you're talking about parameterization is to do the linking of account number of Arbasov with account number of the company. Is that what you mean by parameterization? His daughter has a your son has a mic on, so there's background noise. Once you have the new release, the updated one, we need to go and read the manual because and how the downloading is done. And this will be explained by my dear friend who is the one in charge of the software. Any other questions? How the accountant created the account chart. And sometimes when we see the account chart is like we are so surprised. There's no control. It's a mess. It's not even according to the IFRS or the local financial information standard. So in order to log in to the modules, we go to module 19, audit, which is in Arbasoft already. Those modules were shown previously by Sergio in PDF or more. Once you upload your new Arbasoft, you can enter module 19. It is like the starting point. So we have to go to the planning module and risk model, basically. And this is like the most important thing. This is what we have been talking about this morning and yesterday, part of yesterday. Well, this was the you see the C. I registered this in the C. When you download the module, it 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 will be downloaded in Drive C. And this 19 module, it is like the core. This is how I call it, because we have two very important aspects. In any activity, if I going to plan the expenses of my house, I have to plan how much we're going to spend per month. What do we have? And Sergio was mentioning this. Audit planning module, and this is all about it. And this is what we have so far. Please check. Now, when my son will show you the new release or version, there are other buttons, which is initial and final review. It is in Spanish or English. Name of client, the firm, the if it's a civil association, the currency, if they are SMEs and this is how we do it, the currency, the language, Spanish, English, accounting principles. Once we fill out this, we go to the risk module. This is the high, medium, low, and we just enter the percentages, high, low, low, medium, high, result of the assessment. We put the number, it won't be accepted because everything is linked. And then control risk, low 5%, 3% as a medium risk. And it's and I have the parameters equal or greater than, equal or lower than, and then this is blank. If I put a 6%, it'll show 6%. I have all the parameters of what I'm going to analyze when I review the internal control. What you detected, detection, what you detected, so redundant. So this is the vol throw. So once that we have this, we will have to fill out this sheet. So we go to accounts receivable and then we go to the walkthrough, and it sends us to the walkthrough that we were seeing. But since you're going to download this, when you have you do a double click, you will be sent here or to this location. I don't do this. Don't ever do this. Insert image. That's what is called. This is the questionnaire as per type of control. This was sent by internal control questionnaire team, and this is populated. This is the type of control, and then we can manipulate it according to our review. This is Okay, internal control. So select once we walk through the walkthrough, and then so it applies yes or no. Then we put yes. Authorize, it is authorization, and then we have the participation, the share, 10%, individual 10 or 5% is 10%, and then we are filling out the internal control questionnaire according to the questions made to the accounts receivable department, because we are reviewing. It's not a department, it's like inventory and accounts receivable. No, we are in account. uh, It is kind of heavy to do this. Yes, it applies or does not apply. And then we have the windows of validation, and then we answer each section. This is the module that we have so far. I don't know, Vicente, if you have this one, but the one you have is like obsolete, because we need to have the licensing. We need to have an identifier at each computer. I have two computers registered.
Sorry for the interruption. I was checking what we have in intranet. July 18 was the latest release, and that's exactly the one that has the licensing. Yes, well, if it is licensed, no issue then at all. Thank you. My son is telling me that yes, this is the last one. He's the IT guy, by the way. Okay, I would get crazy if I did everything. And in addition to this collection, so the economic resource is also the most important. How am I going to pay and update my resources? We need to have credit lines that are relevant to pay all credits by PC, software. Arbasoft is included in our membership fee. Well, having clarified this, now let's turn to download the system. So the operating system is already explained. Then the explanation is to start, that's my recommendation, to start with Module 19, Planning and Audit Risks. All right, are we doing fine, Sergio? Yes, we're doing right in timing. Okay, okay. So right now, I'm going to ask my son to connect. I'm being asked about the balances and how we feel everything. Module 17, as you can see here, we fill out the summary scorecards when we are at the main module. They are automated, as I said. Also here, this is module 17. There we have summaries for audits. And this is according to the trial balance. So the trick here is trial balances. Now we turn to my son's computer so you can see the new Arbasoft that was uploaded. What was I saying? July 16th. Yes, in July. Okay, I stop sharing here. Now see this. Stop sharing. Okay. Now I switch computer. I have two because I couldn't do it in a different way to show both releases, the previous one and the new one. And the quality management standard started on July 19th. Remember? Can you hear me? You're a little bit far away. Yes, I am far from the microphone. I'm sorry. Yes, very low, but we can hear you. As I said, I changed the computer. You're seeing what I am sharing? No. We're looking at a website. That's a UC&CS America website, I think. Okay, so in Arvasoft, we're going to use the number that Adrian or Mauricio gave us for Arvasoft. And then we accept Internet. It says licensing startup. User, that's the new. Well, we are licensing for each of our computers at the office. Then we enter and we look for the software. We spotted discharge, download, July 18, 2022. As you can see, the date is down there. Then we click to download it. So we start with the download and we start downloading. So we have the quick installation guide here. The licensing. Sergio and myself have the same voice. So I have already downloaded one of them. The code, Arlosoft, that now user, the number. I'm going to fill out this one to send it to Richard. Users, we put open and we start filling it out. Also the part of Excel, Mexico, licenses, González, Fernando, email, .com. Okay. Yes. So now we are in the installation process. We just need to follow up the steps. The truth is that in this process right now, we need to request permits for installing the code. It is not a permit, but a control for each computer in order to be in conditions of operating. So you need to have the permit to operate this software. Once it is installed, we, as I said, are going to send it to our hard disk D, not to use a lot of space. If you have installed Arbasoft, you will be able to operate with no issue. And believe me, this is going to speed up the whole audit methodology process. One question probably is silly, but the ID is the serial number of the computer, just like any ID. In the ID, in this case, we put the computer number, right? Yes, that's right. Hector Rubio, right? Is that okay, Hector? Yes, thank you. Yes, it's going to be your computer's ID. If you have three of them, then you're going to have ID number 1, 2, and 3. In some computers, it doesn't say ID, but only a number. That's why I was asking. Yes, it's going to be your computer's serial number, automatically given. The ID is given by the operating system. If you format your PC, your ID will change. For example, yes, that's your computer serial number. And I put Hector 1, 2, and 3 just to assign a number. But yes, it is the control ID of your operating system. Once it is installed, we see new things, updates. This is what we're going to send. We're going to send this to Richard Ponce, all this information, so they have the control. Where it says start, do we export? Yes. User number, and also the user. This is the file that we're going to send to Richard Ponce. So he provides the license number to operate or run my computer. I was assigned a license number. I downloaded it. It is in the module, in the audit modules. As you can see on the screen, those are the modules, as I told you. They are identical to the previous version, just a few changes. So we will see the changes. We go to the main menu. The opening methodology is even different. It is a little bit more updated. Let's say it is more robust. The menu, the main or homepage is open, and we can see what it has, where it says audit. And from there, we can open it, and that's the new thing where it says audit. We click on the validation button. It says preliminary at the end. We click on that, and then it says preliminary. The audit date, preliminary, and we're going to have the preliminary audit date and then financial statements as of May 31st and September the 30th. So we're going to have all the historic file. We made a preliminary audit as of September the 30th. So preliminary, we analyze it, and then I'll get the last 3 months. We entered them, and we're going to change here for final audit. Yes, you have 14 minutes to finish. 13 to be correct. 12 now. December 31st. I have my timer. Yes. So I'm going to show you the more significant differences for the new ARBA soft. In addition to the computer controls for users for each firm. In the previous version, you could upload it at any computer. So when someone left, took the software with them, our auxiliary clerks. So when they left, say, okay, give me my computer. And you are not going to take with you any backup. And we have the whole history of the computer. As I said, differently from historical audits that we used to make many years ago, where we said if papers do not weigh 1 kilo, it's worthless. But no, now if you do not show the quality of your work, you won't pass the test. A very short word, quality. Quality in our work documents, in our person, everything, professional ethics, manuals, everything that you need to use, especially. Well, on my part, this is it. What I wanted to show according to my experience. Taking advantage of Excel tools or those in internet would take advantage of them. We harness them. We didn't even see like 10 formulas, and I have more than 80, but we saw a few simple ones. We are planning, Sergio and myself, to have an audit planning talk to follow up on the expert points. Now, exclusively for audit risks and planning. So, Judith and Sergio, thank you. If there's any question, please let me know related to the presentation. Thank you, accountant. I don't know if Sergio can say anything about this, or do you want to elaborate on this? I was taking a look. Richard had an issue to connect, so he could tell us about the technical part, how this software works. Obviously, he's the ideal person to explain this. It works over the basis of the Excel platform, but the truth is that this is a software that compiles information, and managed files are not Excel files, but this is done through a compilator called Donny to manage big amounts of data in a small space. All the files that I make as a backup are .data files, and they are really very light. They are bytes, not kbytes, so the weight of files is really small. And obviously, all these files are managed through the compilator called Donish, and they are handled at each one of the modules. These are files that needed to be exported or imported for their management. So that was the part that I wanted to point out, and I wanted to get the support of Richard. How we make the compilation and then to see the security of the files. But talking very quick, you were able to realize that the platform in Microsoft Excel is simple, and you can see this at the user's manual. You need to use a version of Excel. I think it's above 2016 or a patch for 2013. The license should be active. I don't know if you have seen that sometimes there's like a red ribbon when you are using an outdated program for MS Office. That ribbon, it's sometimes a matter of license. When your software is not original, then you're not going to be able to run the program. I don't know if I am missing anything else. Miguel Angel, in general terms, you're right. I didn't want to get deeper into details because I was expecting Richard to connect. We need to have technology resources. That means that we need to invest in our Windows platform. In Mexico, when we present our audits, we need to have minimum requirements for our software. Likewise, this audit software should contain minimum requirements, as Sergio pointed out. And same as the other one, it is not very heavy as a file because of all the formulas that it has. And I forgot to tell you that you can copy it and export to Excel all the scorecards, and we can work in Excel. I do that in my office. I export to Excel, and I train my employees how this is managed in Excel. All the Arbasoft. We have the training and information of Arbasoft. So we invite you to use this Arbasoft, and you're going to speed up your time, money, and effort. This would allow us to reduce timing in our audits. This is it. Thank you, Judith. I have a question. if you allow me. Yes, we have 6 minutes. Good afternoon, Miguel Ángel, Sergio. It is my pleasure to greet you. A question. The ARBASoft software, does it contains audit programs aligned with CICS practice? Yes. Yes, all the audit manual is contained in the manual. When you go to the area modules, and I mentioned that very quick, but at each one of the auditing areas or sections, you will see that all the support part of this concept comes for SMEs and IRS. There you can see all the cells for the audit. As I mentioned, a lot of people helped to update this program according to the procedures for each one of the areas with all the formats that can be used for procedures, obviously interconnected with the audit planning part. Thank you very much. Thank you. Any other question or comment? It seems that everything was clear. But when you start working with it, that's when you have the questions. When you download it and then you start saying, what did he say? Can you repeat that to me? But yes, as Oscar said, it has everything. Manuals, human resources manual, and the audit manual. Well, that's ARBASoft. In this manual, you have human resources, right? But that's the auditing software. As Sergio mentioned, we have 25,000 hours of technical knowledge, intellectual and technical resources all in one. And my gratitude to all my colleagues that made possible ARBASoft. Thank you very much. Yes, Jorge. What happens? I made a comment and I want to mention this. Thanks for your active and complete participation, making justice to these 25,000 knowledge hours for the development of the software. I remind you that we still have pending a virtual meeting to make the last review before certification. Yes, Joaquin is our certifying body, by the way. So yes, the second certification part is pending. Yes, Joaquin, I have this done, but due to time constraints, my wife passed away last year, so it's difficult. We are really sorry for that. But my comment is related to the fact that this talk is quite useful because I know what I'm going to ask to you at that review. And I know that you have a lot of work advanced, a lot of control, and also internal controls that we will see later on. Thank you. Miguel Angel, We need to finish that pending meeting. He is the chairman of the certifying body. Thank you. This is not a threat, but quite similar. No, it is not a threat, just an announcement for the rest. I encourage you to use Arbasoft. Yes, so you can have all certifications. So we invite you, Mauricio Mubarak, Mr. Vega, the certifying body chairman. We invite you to certify using Arbasoft. We invite you. Yes, I was reading here in the chat, as it was mentioned by Mr. Reyes, that they had a conversation recently with Richard and they were not able to be there because he's having a very strong cold and he was not present here, so he apologizes with everybody, and that's the reason. Who did? Let's go ahead with the recognition diploma handout and to continue with the last topic of the day. Yes, of course. And I want to ask Baldomero Juarez, please take the microphone to hand out the recognition.
Okay, good evening, you all. It's a great honor to grant this diplomas to Sergio and Mr. Quiñones that have always been in audit and new things that happen. They always share them with us, and I'm going to grant the following diploma. So UC&CS America grants the following diploma to public accountant Sergio Penilla Sanchez for his UCCS Basoft course, and this is signed by our chairman, Mauricio Morava Gonzalez. Thank you very much, Sergio. My pleasure. Thank you. It's a pleasure to share our experience and our practice. And this diploma is for certified public accountant Miguel Ángel Quiñones Herrera for UCCS Arbasat held on the 20th of September 2022. Thank you very much for sharing your experience. Yes, my pleasure. And thank you for putting up with me during 1.5 hours or 2 hours. Thank you. I don't know. We do not feel like the time. They go really fast because each presentation that sometimes are really heavy because of the content, but they seem light because you are professional and with your experience, you make us feel like that this is light. Thank you, Accountant Baldomero, for supporting us. And then we will continue with the agenda. Please, Mr. Sergio, there's one diploma left. We do have it over here. I'm sorry. We didn't have the opportunity to grant this to Accountant Sergio because he had to leave. So, Accountant Baldomero, the floor is yours. UCCS America grants this diploma to Public Accountant Sergio L. Penilla Sanchez for the course Background Introduction, Proposed Standards, Fundamental Concepts, Closing, and Opinion, held on the 20th of September 2022, signed by our President Mauricio Mubarak Gonzalez. Thank you very much. It was really this was like a marathon, but we cover it really fast. But I think that we covered the less complex entities part. Of course, I think that you touched on the essential part of the topics because they are so deep and extensive that we need to design specific courses or specific meetings to go over those topics in more detail. So let's continue with the agenda. And we have a very important topic that I would like you to give us the general overview. And this is internal control. I will give you the floor again. Well, thank you very much. This topic is only with the presence of the people who will deliver it, we recognize their knowledge in this topic, which is internal control. So the next topic are manuals of our organization, UCCS. Well, in terms of audit, we already covered is the audit manual is immersed in Arbasoft. But there are other manuals that are contained in it, like quality control, because this part was covered. And please, check that on Arbasoft. So you will see that all the manuals are there. But there's another that is as important, internal control manual. So who better than accountant Reynaldo Nava with so ample experience in the private sector or in the public sector can mention about how this all this information and experiences to draft this internal control manual. So, could you give us his resume of and Ileana Medina? Yes, of course. Yes, precisely. Accountant Reynaldo Nava. He, he is a public accountant since 1971 with a professional certification, and also he has an extensive experience in fiscal contributions, tax contributions, and he has experience in the public and private sectors and regarding planning, supervision, and preparation of expert opinions of financial statements. It is part of the UCC's America in internal control, and he will be along with Lilia Medina Armendariz. Both are part of the internal control of UCCS America. I want to give you the floor. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation, and I would like to clarify the following. The internal control manual, in some way, I always presented it, but this time we will include two people that have participated the most in its integration, which is Hector Rubio and Lili Medina. We call them Lili Medina instead of Lilia. Well, could Adrian share or give me or share my slides? Well, Mr. Adrian, are you there? Could could you assign him the role of a speaker, it seems that you have the control already. You have to click on the cup. They're just explaining to him how to share the screen. That's why I'm not translating. So, Lily, okay. So, do you want me to talk or please, Liliana? No. Okay. So, we're going to present the manual as follows. So one is the presentation. Public accountancy throughout time has designed technical tools that will allow the public accountant in his or her practice, in his or his her different specialties, uh, to sustain his or her opinion and conclusions of commitments contract, especially regarding audit, review of financial statements, other commitments of witnessing and relative services. In this sense, the firm paying attention to the changes issued by the regulating authorities nationally or internationally, and also the modification of the legal framework and technological advances. So we will have an exemption. This is updated, the legal framework and the professional framework until September of 2022. So It also includes international treaties, among others, to announce them to associates through courses, seminars, or specialized courses to fulfill the demands of their customers. So we can see this in the internal control manual, which is one of the strengths of the firm. The objective is to provide the partners and professional staff associated to the firm of the content of the manual for the assessment of internal control and facilitate the services provision provided to their clients, especially regarding audit, review of financial statements, other commitments of witnessing, and relative service based on the legal framework of the ruling agencies nationally and internationally and the legal framework of our country. Okay, so in the preparation of material that is submitted, several professionals participate, and we decided to do it through folders that next are described, and you will be able to consult it in the cloud. I don't remember the name of the file that we have to save everything. Orfa, your mic is on, please. Okay, we have divided this into the following: knowing the users. So we narrate from the initiation of the manual. The forms were designed for the purposes of the questionnaire. Also, the format has 5 columns. One for the section that we are covering. If the company has all the basic documents, the articles of incorporation, etc. And then we go down. We need to review that this exists in the company. Then we review, there's a column of yes or no or non-applicable, and if applicable, there's a column of recommendation. We have a special folder there. Normally, now go back, please. The user, like we, in some way will follow this because there are recommendations that are strictly linked with the questionnaire. And it tells us where we can find or what to do. Besides this, in the description of the proposal, there's the legal background and also the professional background. And this in some way will facilitate, like for the facilitates the person that will fill out the questionnaire will be able to know what to do. The following folder is called planning of audit planning. Audit planning. So here, our good friend Hector Rubio, will explain audit planning. Then we have risk assessment. So we should determine the risks, be control risks, inherent risks, and so on. And then we have a questionnaire descriptive with open questionnaire with open questions. Lily, please. Well, the internal control of questionnaires, and then we have guides on what to do. There's the recommendations where you will link the planning with with the recommendation. At the end, we have the index, but we compile everything. The objective of this questionnaire, I think you went back one slide. The objective, one more, yeah, general overview. The objective of this questionnaire is to provide the auditor that is responsible and the staff that participate in the review of financial statement. It is a guide that allows to assess internal control, the accounting internal control, when the internal administrative internal control proceeds, and will serve as a foundation to determine the degree of trust and will determine the nature, extension, and opportunity of audit procedures. Internal control contains the organization plan, methods, and procedures that in a coordinated manner are adopted by an entity to safeguard its files, verifying the reasonability and reliability of its financial information, administrative and operational supplementary information, promoting operation efficiency and stimulate the addition to the policies described by the administration or management. Characteristic of internal control: there should be an organization plan that establishes an appropriate division of obligation and responsibilities for the company's activities. The base for this independency lies in the premise that no organ will be responsible of the control of accounting records that are referred to its own operation. There should be an authorization and recording system to provide a control reasonable on assets, liabilities, capital, revenue, costs, and expenses, accounting manuals and procedures manuals, as well the records in printed or digit- digitally that will allow to comply the internal control plan. It should establish a work division in such a way that any person will have all the transaction under its chart from end to end. The professional quality of the staff should be according to the responsibilities. An internal control system that works properly depends not only of an organization well planned and on the effectiveness of procedures and practices followed, but also on the selection of executives and area heads that have the ability and experience, as well as the personnel capable of conducting procedures laid out in an efficient and in economic manner. The elements of the internal control structure, we will skip them. I think that we all know this. So let's include a comment about Sarbanes-Oxley law that in some way has highlights the importance of internal control. Sarbanes-Oxley law, it's an essential regulation for the financial risk comprehensive management. The important aspects that we can identify are as follows. Section 404, managerial assessment of internal controls. So requires that management performs an annual assessment or in shorter periods, measuring the effectiveness of internal controls of the company regarding the issuing of financial reports, and do not to wait until the end where the auditor comes. Section 404A, its internal control reports, mention the responsibility of the management area to establish and maintain a proper structure of internal controls for financial reports and evaluate or assess the effectiveness of controls. Section 4044B, the report of external auditor on internal controls. The external auditor must report on the assessment performed by the management on internal controls in accordance with the guidelines that follows the external audit firms. Section 406, an ethics code for main directors. An ethical code should be issued with conflict of interest, full disclosure, and true financial information and planning areas topics. Sarbanes-Oxley law was published in 2001 with the bankruptcy of the largest company, financial company that that was dedicated to the sale of energy products, and with frauds and with weak internal control provoked the bankruptcy of the financial system of the US. And then this, and also this comes along with IFAC. IFAC took the reins and started modifying the legal framework of the profession. Next one. Conclusion. Any organization is not exempt of fraud, and most of them are committed by internal employees of organization taking advantage of a weak internal control system from from which they know the vulnerabilities. It it is an imperative to have the right risk management policy in order to avoid fraud and financial frauds by defining clear responsibility and establishing effective internal control and using proper technology. So really we can see that internal control shouldn't be assessed when the audit is performed. It should also be evaluated by the own management, so the management will be aware of the weaknesses of the internal control system, and everybody will comply with the guidelines, be policies, procedures, and the standards and laws. So I would like to thank from the bottom of my heart the members of the Committee of Internal Control, Héctor Rubio Fernandez, Liliana Medina, who is, we call them Lily, Public Accountant Certified Jorge Armando Tapia Rios, Certified Public Accountant. She's the Orfa Liliana Ortiz Berrum, Miguel Ángel Quiñones Herrera, who is a certified public accountant and doctor, and also certified public accountant Alberto Cabrera. So I will stop here and I will give the microphone, as Judith says, to Héctor Rubio, who will show us one of the folders that refer to the planning of audits. Good afternoon, you all. Basically, I don't know if Adrian can help me with my presentation. Yes? Adrian, are you there? Just give me a sec, please. Okay, the floor is yours. Good evening, you all. So, I'm going to talk about the updating of some cells that we used to manage during the audit planning. The main objective is that this audit planning cells is to document and support the quality requirements uh, from the authority. First slide. So,
This is the suggested model for the agreement letter to accept the task according to IAS 210. That's the proposal that we know. This is to be modified in the case of Mexico according to the elements defined with the customer for the audit, if it is financial or for tax purposes or both. And obviously, we need to quantify our professional fees, the suggested model, and also schedule the dates for the audit. This is something that you can modify according to your needs. Now, internal control, sorry. Point number 2, internal control questionnaire for audit planning. That's basically a summary of this is a questionnaire that is attached to the planning phase with 25 or 30 questions that we need to ask in this stage in order to spot critical areas or critical issues that can arise during the planning process. After this, as a result of this application for planning, we can detect some observations, but some examples are given here. This is not a limitation, and we can add the observations that are necessary. Next slide, please. This is the scorecard to plan and establish timing, the timeline. Once the proposal is authorized, we are going to determine the audit starting date, and then we can start to detect areas, goals, procedures, either of compliance or substantial, and the estimated time with auxiliary accountants, managers, etc. Also, variations. Next slide, please. With this audit planning format, we can include some other aspects, a summary memo, where we can include the auditing team that is going to be for the audit, manager review, major topics, accounting policies according to the IAS, audit material, meetings with customers, and report dates if we have any. Understanding of the business. This is to include information of the company, the sector, market, activity that they have, internal and external factors. According to the business type, tax and accounting relevant matters, critical or significant areas, also based on the risks that we detect. Related party operations mean shareholders of the company, auditing risks. Finally, other risks or matters. This is also a scorecard that we can extend according to our needs and each accounting firm. Next slide, please. Determining auditing risks. This scorecard includes the type of risks, if it is inherent, and the level, low, mid, high detection level, and also the review scope that we have planned for review purposes. At some points, when we determine the scope, according to my opinion, shouldn't exceed more than 40%, but it depends on the risks and the risk levels that we detect. Next slide, please. The audit planning also includes this scorecard that we can reinforce. It is mainly focused to personnel, how they are assigned, the account line, all the accounts managed by the company, the account, general or specific procedure once we know the client. We can apply the auditing concepts that we deem convenient, the scope of the review execution period, the initials of personnel of the review, and reference to work papers. Next. This scorecard has the analytical card and the determination of financial indicators, in this case based on IAS 315, identification and assessment of risks, as Juan Carlos was mentioning early in the morning. We can detect the risk types that we have. Could be financial, exchange rate risks, personnel, tax risks, and also the dependence of a client. They depend on one customer only, like in the case of Pemex or the CFE, the power energy company. Sometimes they are just one customer. They have just one customer. Or probably income is only from related parties. That's another risk. And also the COVID-19 risks. That's a health risk. Or a strike, a union strike. These kind of risks are the ones that need to be spotted in our audit. Next slide, please. As a supplement, and as accountant Nava mentioned, The internal control programs were updated, the sales cycle, operation costs, and updating of account recommendations for each one of the above mentioned accounts. Next. Well, this is it. Basically, those are the areas that I wanted to mention. If there's any question or comment, please let me know. It seems that no. Thank you. Thank you very much for your attention. The truth is that they have understood that comments can be done in the chat. So if there's any comment, please let us know. We have 1 minute. Well, 2 minutes, okay. So, Reynaldo, we give you the floor. Next, we're going to give the floor to Liliana Medina. She's going to talk about related parties, related to internal control for related parties. Go ahead, Lily. Good afternoon to all of you. For me, it is a pleasure to see you again as every year. After the explanation provided by Reynaldo and Hector Rubio, we had all the context and explanation for internal control. I'm going to give in a descriptive manner. I'm going to show you how these files are integrated. Now I'm just going to share my screen. I'm not really familiar with this platform. I was looking for that icon inside the platform, inside WebEx. Okay. I want to mention that in the last years, internal control has changed from a traditional method targeted to protect the company based on assets, and now internal control is focused to risks to avoid frauds, important deviations, providing certainty to shareholders so the company is protected. As we have mentioned, the integration of internal control manuals is made up by 6 points: audit planning, risk assessment, descriptive internal control, questioning internal control guides, and recommendations. Now let's turn to this file. All the files are in the intranet and they are updated once a year with all the team, and I want to show you how this file is. Are you seeing my Explorer? Yes? Okay, so we have assets, liabilities, capital, recommendations, the cover sheet, and now let's turn to fixed assets. Sorry. We have all the controls: cash, accounts receivable, stock, anticipated payments, property, intangible assets, related parties, as well as that file: assets, liabilities, internal control questionnaires, accounts payable, related parties, accounting capital, contingencies, and also P&L. There's also the part of recommendations. I want to show you that when we have the files of accounts receivable questionnaires, we have the questions, as Reynaldo mentioned. This questionnaire is based on the C3 IAS questions, observations, possible answers, and observations and recommendations. Recommendations per each sector. We try to have them linked. Sorry, this questionnaire has all the recommendations with that link. For example, let's turn to any of these recommendations that we have. It takes us to the recommendations. Were you able to see that? We went to the recommendations section. They are linked. All the questionnaires are linked, sorry, with the recommendation. Eric Emilio de Jesus is asking the following. In liabilities internal control, he didn't see taxes to be paid. Yes, they are there. Thank you. They are in accounts payable. Let me verify. I'm going to open it. Otherwise, I'm going to verify that. If it is not there, I'm going to check it out at the platform because we do have them. In fact, we added the Social Security questionnaire. Probably it is not here in this file because I did not update the liabilities, but they are there. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to explain the initial assessment questionnaire for related parties or also documenting transfer prices. I want to mention that we always need to know the company, the business sector, whether there is an organizational chart and the structure of the group, deductions with related party, relationships, a brief description of operations, as well as determining why they are related parties due to shareholder participation, joint businesses, or any relative or relationship. Operations, what type of operations they carry out with related parties, both abroad and locally. The revenue has to have a brief description with related parties with operation type and amount. Also, deductions with related parties, both revenue and deductions. We also need to have or to know that they have identical operations or with independent parties. We should also know that all the operations should have the form and contract terms for the operations. Also, the business strategies with these related parties, if there are intangibles with related parties, if they have a costing system, which one it is, if there is any previously established policy for pricing between related parties. This is really important. This is going to help us a lot to know which is the process and policies to determine prices. If there are any market risk surveys or transfer prices from previous exercises, if they have an APA, or if they are interested in having this anticipated agreement with authorities. Since 2016, there is an obligation to present yearly informative tax returns, and they are mandatory. They are submitted in December. This did not change for next year, for 2022. They are going to be submitted in 2023, and surveys should be there along with the tax return or the fiscal assessment. We also need to have a copy of all financial statements corresponding to the exercise or analyze related parties who are main competitors, customers, vendors. Finally, if financial statements are disseminated, we're going to do so for each item in order to know the company perfectly. Concluding, I'm going to get back. So, concluding, the internal control manual is the tool auditors use to assess and know the company with the purpose of having evidence. We need to take care of evidence, both physical, documental, testimonial, and analytical. So this is everything on my part. If you have any question, please let me know. I just want to mention that Remedios during the weekend is going to upload to the platform these folders that I mentioned, because the ones of last year are there. So they are just going to update the ones for 2022. If there is any question, please let me know. Thank you. Thank you to you. Reynaldo, do you want to add anything? I think that we have a work niche for public accountants to create internal control structure for companies. This is really important. So, as it is said, they should be solid, reliable, efficient, that won't allow us to discover any irregularity when it already happened. But in a preventive fashion, we can determine what's happening. That's why we said this assessment should be for shorter periods and not when the auditor comes in. And this is the task of top management, all personnel. And I can say this because of an experience that we had at a broadcasting company. They were in bankruptcy, and how we corrected it. Because this is something that provides revenue. For that is accounting. But remember that every repetitive activity can be digitalized, and this eases up audit processes, and especially internal control. It is recommended that we use the best technology available at the moment and not to get obsolete systems. Everything is dynamic, should be under constant review. We thank you for your attention. Thank you very much, Hector and Lily. Thanks to you. Thanks. Thank you very much to all of you. Sergio, I don't know if you want to add up anything. Is there any question, any comment? No, not really. Everything is right. So now let's hand out the recognition diploma to pass to the conclusions. For this, I want to ask Accountant Joaquin Vega, would you please help me handing out the recognition diplomas? It is my pleasure to hear you. So we give you the floor. Go ahead. Thank you. It is a pity that we are far away because otherwise I will bring with me all the recognition diplomas. Thank you. Well, dear Reynaldo, I have had the pleasure to meet you since many years ago. So I thank you for your important participation in meetings like this one that enhance our profession, the stakeholders as persons, and at the same time, this is forcing us to contribute with our elements in personal way, not to be left behind or obsolete. So I want to thank you on behalf of the firm UC&CS America for your important participation in this committee, in these conferences for training, because I understand it is not only today, but also tomorrow you are going to participate. So, even more, my recognition to you. On behalf of the firm, we hand out this diploma to Reynaldo Leon Nava Jimenez for his participation, as I said, in these conference cycles 2022 in our yearly congress of the firm. That's internal control manual signed on September 20th, 2022 by our board of director chairman, Mauricio Mobarak Gonzalez. So on behalf of Mauricio, myself, I hand out this recognition diploma. Thank you very much for your words and the acknowledgement. Okay, also for you, Reynaldo. Also to the Bachelor in Accounting, Lilia Medina Armendaris. She was showing off that she didn't know how to use the platform, but at the end, she knew because she was interacting with each one of the documents as if she was at her own office. So, Lilia, I thank you for the participation, especially your participation at the commission to update internal control manuals, which is one of the most important manuals for the development of our profession as a firm, because those are the major manuals that we need to take into consideration as a firm. And if we want also to use ARVASoft, as we saw a few moments ago with Miguel Angel and Sergio. So we are also handing out this valuable recognition or diploma for your valuable participation as a speaker in this conference cycle, same as Reynaldo. And this is internal control manual. That's a topic signed by our board of directors chairman, Mr. Mauricio Mobarak. So we are handing this out to you. It is my honor. Thank you for your words and the support. Thank you very much. Okay, my regards. We're missing another one. Our friend Hector, in a very accurate manner, he was taking us step by step in planning matters. This is a really important topic because it's going to let us decide whether we update the contract with our customer. This is something that we're going to go deeper into details tomorrow with Reynaldo, as I mentioned, and Hector. Just like Lilia, I thank you for your support and what you have done. So manuals are updated for the purposes of our firm work. So we are not outdated and we have state of the art technology with this program and also individual work when we are using this manual. So we hand out also these small but significant recognition for your valuable participation with the topic Internal Control Manual, undersigned by our Board of Directors Chairman, Master in Business Administration, Mubarak Gonzalez, for this firm. We thank you a lot.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joaquin. Now we'll go ahead. I was just giving the microphone back to you to grant, well, you asked me to grant this diploma to the speakers. Thank you very much for always supporting us. So it's time. We're coming like to the last mile. Now we will hear the conclusions, and who better than Mr. Sergio Penilla in this such important section. So the microphone is yours. Thank you, Judith. Thank you all. As I said, this was like an intense journey, but the truth is that I want to give you a brief summary of the conclusion. Probably it's, well, they are not like the most important ones, but they will help you when solving the answering the exam. So pay attention. So what did we see today? So from one of the most important parts that we covered was the standard bill on sustainability. Without no doubt, this will be a breakthrough in disclosing from the government and entities, and it's maturing. It's almost will be published as mandatory for international standards. What did we see? It's like the bill of less complex entities. We try to summarize it as much as possible, but it's very extensive because it is. We saw that 90% of SMEs or 99% in other uh, less complex entities. There was a discussion about reviewing this less complex entities law There were 93 responses in writing, but there was no response by Mexico. Curiously enough, because in Mexico it has demonstrated to be very active, but there are separate laws that are used by some countries like Belgium, France, and other countries that for the purposes of less complex entities, the international no standard quality control, because it has to be implemented before the 15th of December 2022. So we are running out of time. So we also saw that there is one part of the IAS for less complex entities that has like a sort of checklist that we call it closing. And also we saw like in full IAS, we can have a type of opinion where we do not have sufficient audit evidence for those less complex entities. So obviously has to be a modified opinion depending on the impact made on the materiality of financial statements. It could be an exemption or a denial of an opinion. We also saw that the audit evidence is appropriate when this was commented by Carlos Reyes, and also an audit task should be accepted where all the prior conditions are met. Otherwise, we shouldn't accept the task. When accountant Nava explained us really reiterating, well, saying that please pay attention because the law that is a regulation for risk management for entities. So it's been a long time we saw this, we foresaw this, and as a final conclusion, we see that all the standards are being updated. We see that the top well are also updated. The use of technology is growing. So we, as part of this great community in UCCS, we need to be more ac- active. We need to update our systems of quality control, no, the quality management of all our manuals, and the to use in an optimal way our software, the ARPA soft, that contains all the bounties of our manuals. So these are my conclusions. Hopefully they were useful, and we we will proceed with the event evaluation. Of course, I would like first of all to have the closing remarks and listen to David Guzman. If you can deliver the closing remarks for all the members and partners of the firm. The microphone is yours. Good evening. We are just coming to the end of the second day. I just want to thank you for attending and participation. And also, I want to especially thank the speakers that dedicated their time during their presentation, giving us valuable information. So we will be interested in the topics shared by them. And with this, we will be able to perfect our professional practices. There were really interesting topics. Also, the all the less complex entities laws, the Arbasoft, giving us good tips in the use of the tool, the internal control manual. I just want to say thank you because Sergio and gave an excellent summary of the topics covered today. So I just want to highlight that ARPA is internationally applied, so we can adopt it and adapt it to our legislation to make it more efficient. So I just want to thank you again for your presence. Please have a good rest and let us continue tomorrow with ethics and quality management standards. We will need to fill out the evaluation sheet and the exam, and it was a really rich full day. Thank you very much. Thanks to you. Thank you very much. Okay, so let us go to the evaluation of the event. I want to ask Adrian Núñez if to grab the microphone, please. The mic is yours. Mr. Adrian, good evening. Yes, okay. So, this is the last part of the session. So, you need to fill out the evaluation about the content in each presentation and also the exam, which is the most difficult part. We mentioned this yesterday because the aim of the test is that to pass the exam with a grade, so you will obtain the points for your certification to be for the accountants in Mexico. So I just want to share the screen. So we have this is the web page where you registered for today's sessions. It has several buttons. The blue buttons have links to a new page where you will see the presentations in PDF format. Those are today's presentations, and the on the evaluation survey you will see this web page. It says day 2, 20 of September, and we will see if the topic was important, the quality of the presentation, if they knew, if the speakers knew the topic, control of the group. We do not interact a lot like if we do it like when this is done in person. The material, the broadcast quality. So we will ask you before you log out, please answer the survey. So this information will help us to perfect the quality of the presentations. And the exam button, we, there were some comments made by some people that the bottom of the exam taken yesterday did not work. So, so if you click on exam, you will see like a hand, little hand. So there's a link. If you do not see the hand and you just see the arrow, there's nothing because we have an arrow. But if you put it in an area where there's a link, so like in this case, the cursor becomes a hand and this will take you somewhere else. So if so this when you click under you will see the exam. Likewise, like we have done it in other occasions, there are 10 questions that will be answered by you. So I suppose that you will have until the 26th to answer this. In this case, this is on Sunday, and the exam that you took yesterday, well, the deadline is the on the 25th, which is a Sunday. So, and the access are on the web page where you register. This is the registration, material, survey, and exam. Let's see what happens on yesterday. It was really moving, by the way. Well, if I put the cursor, it says registration, there's the link, materials, the same thing, survey, and exam. So if I click on exam, you will see the exam of day one on 19th of September. What's going on? Probably what is happening is that you didn't update your browser, did not update the web page where the buttons bottoms show. If you open a web page, the browser will get all the information, images, colors, logos, etc., and then it's saved on a memory. And the cache memory, what it does when we visit again the web page, will be this will be done quicker instead of going where the web page is hosted and bringing the information back. It goes to the cache memory and it shows the web page to me again. So in this case, the web page that is shown probably is the one of yesterday's or the day before yesterday, and this web page has not been updated since the page was updated last night. So your browser is opening yesterday's version of this web page and obviously doesn't have the link for the exam. If you put the cursor on it, over it, you will see an arrow instead of a hand. If, and if you see the hand, it means that the link is uploaded. So I recommend the following. Please just click, give right click, a right click and put reach or reload. So I click on reload and you will see the web page and you will see the hand. And this is the way to validate that it's working and that the link is there. So in this case, it says reload. In another browser could say like update the web page or whatever. But the idea is to update again the web page. In this case, the browser go to the server, brings information back, and show it to you. and also in the cache memory of the browser, depending on the browser you use. What you need to do is to delete the cache memory on your browser, and when you do it, it'll be clean. The web page will be uploaded again with the new information. Those are the two recommendations, so you will be able to see the link of the yesterday's exam. The same thing is like for today. So please, I ask you to reload or delete the cache memory. So in this way, the most recent web page will be loaded. The last recommendation, if none of the two options work, please try with a new browser. Most of you use Google Chrome. Sometimes Google Chrome does not like load. It goes to the cache memory. You can use Firefox or Opera or Vivaldi. It's the one I use. They are very similar. They are Chrome based like Vivaldi, and if you're going to register for the first time, for sure you will see the most recent version. Those are the three ways to upload the web page, delete the cache, or use another browser to enter the registration of each day so you can answer the survey and the exam of every day. That's all on my side. If you have any concerns or questions, please feel free to ask them or make your comments. Well, thank you very much. Have a very good evening. Good night. Bye bye. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Sergio Penilla. Thank you, Mr. Reynaldo, and all the ones who supported me. For me, it's been an honor to share this day with you. It's 22 minutes after 7. So we close today's session. On behalf Mr. Mauricio Mubarak, Chairman of UCCS America and UCCS Global, thank you. Good evening. Have a good rest. See you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Thank you. Mañana a las 10 otra vez.